Hey, congratulations on reaching the end of the first phase of the scaffold sales training. A couple things I want you guys to really take away from this section is you want to become an infrastructure partner for your customer, not just the commodity rep. There's going to be folks that just reach out and say, hey, I know what I want. I just need you to give me a price. And whoever gets the best price is getting the rental deal. And hey, look, we want those customers too, but generally speaking, where you add value is where you're really going to build a career in this industry. You want to become essential to your customers. The other thing here is you really want to understand what the customer is looking for, right? You need to know what you're selling. You need to understand where frame and brace is the right solution, where ring lock scaffold is the right solution, where a swing stage is the right solution. You want to understand the options and what those options mean for your customer. And think about like this, you are selling business outcomes, right? People don't go buy a drill from the store because they want a drill. They buy a drill because they need a hole, okay? You're giving the customer access to a building or access to an area that they could not otherwise get so that they can complete a specific task that they need done. And if you think about that thoughtfully and you think about that from the customer's standpoint and you kind of tailor your solutions to what the customer actually needs, you're going to become that trusted rep. You're going to become that essential partner that they reach out to every time they need something. And you also want to think about bundling, right? So, hey, we're building a scaffold on the side of a building for a remodel project. Do you need a trash chute to bring the old stuff down? Do you need a material hoist to take the new stuff up? Think about, hey, if we're already going to be out there doing some work for you, what other things are going to be useful to you that we can also provide, okay? When you're discussing a deal with your customer, understanding mental accounting, how to frame different metrics, understanding equity theory, these are the things that can shift the way the customer sees your solution. Now, this isn't meant to be a psychology course here, but understanding, or at least knowing, hey, my customer might think about the deal a certain way. Here's some things that I can do either in my written proposal that I'm handing off or in the conversations that I have throughout the sales process where I can sort of drive their thought process towards the things that I want. I want them thinking about the price that we give them as an investment that gives them specific business results at the end of a job rather than, hey, this is what it costs for me to do this thing, right? At the organizational level, tying solutions to or tying your solutions cost to deliberate items, recognizing social exchange, goal conflict, and entrenched norms can also address those underlying buying motivations. A lot of folks just think of us as a commodity dealer. And the reality is that most of the time, the stuff that we're building, right, the actual scaffold, it is a commodity. Our ring lock scaffold's not different than the next guy. What's different is we're not going to give you 2 truckloads of gear when you can get the job done with 1. We're going to help you value engineer that solution. We're going to be consultative. We're going to work with you and try to identify ways that you can actually save money versus the way you thought you were going to have to go after this project. The other thing is you'll hear a lot of engineered solutions. You know, you'll hear the term engineering a lot as we go through this. That doesn't mean you have to bring an engineer in, right? That means that you're applying science, math, and design principles to arrive at a solution that works for the customer, okay? So when we think about putting together a quote for a swing stage project, obviously the number of counterweights that we have to put on the back end of the rigging up top, that's an engineered solution. We use math, we use design science to arrive at the number of counterweights that we need based on the specifics of the swing stage and the rigging environment. That doesn't mean every time you rig a swing stage, you got to go get an engineer to do that calculation for you. So I know a lot of times when we hear engineering and scaffold, people automatically jump to, oh, I've got to go get an actual engineer involved. No, an engineered solution is what we do every day. Every single scaffold that we built is built with pre-engineered components put together in a specific way determined by the manufacturer, and then we align all those things together to get the temporary elevated platform that the customer needs. Now, when we talk about safety, you don't have to know every safety rule, but you have to be a consultative seller. You have to at least know that when you're giving something to the customer that it's going to be safe, you're not helping them to design an unsafe scaffold. You know, you don't want a 10-frame tall scaffold that's not tied to the building. That's going to be against OSHA regulations. So don't have to be a competent person in scaffolding to sell it, but you do need to have a basic understanding of the primary rules. And you need to know, hey, you know what? This one's a little above my head. Let me go grab someone that's a little bit more experienced. Let me go grab a qualified person to help me design this solution for the customer. And then finally, understanding how to sell with safety, understanding how to sell with solutions. It's important when you're specifically talking to a customer about the labor that we're providing on a job rather than just the material. Again, the material's not that different from the competition, but the labor and the service that we provide, that's significantly different. And so understanding what your company's safety metrics are and being able to turn those lagging indicators like a TRIR or an EMR rating into a story about how we're going to help your job site be safer by us being on it. That's how you turn the corner and become that infrastructure partner, that consultative seller versus just a commodity rep. Wait, thanks for sticking with us through the bronze certification phase. Silver is up next. We're going to talk a bit more about how to be a sales rep. This was more of an intro to selling scaffolding into the industry. And as we go through these different levels and these different phases, you'll really be able to tie all this stuff together and feel a lot more confident when you go out into the field.